So we saw John Lynch's setup. And, I mean, that setup is impressive.
Look at it.
And, again, we took a wager, friendly wager. You say he's calling in right now from phone 2 in the middle.
I said center phone.
And you said left phone, Chris?
Phone left.
Leaving phone right for me. John Lynch, you could make one of the three of us very happy. Which phone are you calling in from right now?
None of the above.
Oh!
I had to make a run to the grocery store, so I'm in a parking lot and about to get masked up and go in there and brave the the elements.
All right, so just give us a few minutes of your time on your cell phone here in a parking lot of whatever grocery store you're in. I mean, what a setup that is, John. John, how many? It looks like it's a 7-screen 3-phone setup. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of screens. There's a lot there, and I think I don't know. As a player, I think you learn. You prepare for every situation that might be thrown at you, and so all I did. I mean, shoot, we are in Silicon Valley, so we have some extremely talented people in our IT, our video department, and basically what Kyle and I did is said we want to replicate what we do on draft day. We know that's impossible, so where we need to be simple, we'd rather do that than be cluttered and complex. And so we kind of described that, and that's essentially how we're going to do it. We're going to have, we involve a lot of people in our draft process. We like hearing from all our coaches, our scouts, and they'll kind of live in one thing we're calling the huddle. That's going to be one virtual thing going on. There's going to be another room, which is our draft room, our John McVay draft room, which we call it, as if we're in our facility. And there'll be that group of people. And then Kyle and I, whenever the draft is getting crazy and you've got people, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We always leave and go to my office, which is adjacent to the draft room. And so we've got JL's office. So that's kind of how we're living. That's what all the screens are for. Other screens are for notes, for our internal system. And so a lot of people, I think, what do you need all that for? That's why you need it. And you've got other teams' needs and such. So a lot of information being, and our crew did a great job setting it up. And I just hope it all works come Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Well, in terms of working, lots of conversation about the run-through, the rehearsal draft that went down on Monday and the issues that were had there. Can you give me any details on how that went from your perspective? What happened?
Well, I think it was a lot of smoke, much ado about nothing. I think the best way I can say it, over the weekend we kind of did an internal mock. And it was the proverbial, I won't say it on air, but you know what show. And
right.
But, John Gruden, when I played for him, he used to have a great saying, sometimes you got to do the things you don't want to do so that you can do the things you want to do. And so you have to kind of go through that to see, as much as you plan out in your mind, until you actually go through the scenario, there's issues, unforeseen issues. And so that's kind of what happened on the very first pick. I think everybody was hearing them, Cincinnati, who had some technical difficulties. Jerry came on, and I think the whole league heard them. And so there was that. But then right after that, it got very smooth. And, I think that's why we did it. They'll do more of them today with kind of the IT people. But I think everyone understands that you do kind of have to go through the process to understand, okay, here's an issue. And I really do think it will be as smooth as it can be come Thursday.
Okay, and the Jerry you're referring to, I'm assuming you mean Jones, because we heard from Albert Breer in the first hour of our program from Sports Illustrated that there was a mock Cowboys Bengals trade to throw everybody in the deep end of this rehearsal pool. And so Jerry was the one who was on the phone for everybody?
Yeah, I don't want to be sharing in-house information, but that's pretty cool. There's few people in this league you just call by the first name. It's like Dion, Jerry, and everybody knows who you're talking about. So I screwed that one up, but yeah, he did. And
it's okay.
I always, whether it's at league meetings, wherever it is, I always get such a kick when he speaks up because it's always entertaining.
Right. Why? So look, John. I mean, I knew you were a Stanford guy. You wouldn't be the guy that had a problem with the mute button. I knew that because that's what we're hearing too. That there was the general managers on the phone and that people didn't know when to mute and what have you. But nothing.
Yeah, that is kind of part of the draft. There's talks you have that you certainly don't want to have other people hearing. I think the best thing they did. I think mask and 6 foot distancing and all that. But RIT, I've got our head video guy is going to be about 7 feet away from me during this whole process.
Right.
And if I get in a pinch, he can handle it. There's a lot of fail safes. If with our system, if my house were to crash, number one, I've got a generator. Number two, then it goes to Adam Peters, and Adam Peters has been along with me. Kyle didn't want any part of turning in a pick, so he's out of the loop. But Adam Peters goes, and then Ethan Waugh, our college scouting director. So there's all those fail safes. There's also you can pick up the phone and call it in, and so I think they've kind of insulated this thing with a ton of different ways that if everything goes awry that we can all function, and I do have good confidence that it's going to go not without a hitch, but I think it will go smoothly.
So in terms of that though, just last thing for you, John, on this subject, nothing insurmountable then from what you got from the mock draft or the rehearsal draft for Thursday. It's all stuff that can be fixed.
I do believe that. I really do, and I think it's going to be entertaining. I really do. I know I made on our media call yesterday, everyone is just craving for something live. The other night, it wasn't even live, but it was something new, The Last Dance.
Yep.
And during this time, I don't watch much TV because anytime you're watching TV, you should be watching film or
Right.
or making calls and talking with people. But that Last Dance, I had to watch it. Michael Jordan's just been the guy for me, and like so many people. And I think there's a very similar feeling. I can't tell you how many people have reached out and said, we are so looking forward to this. And I think there'll be a fun element to seeing people, in their own environment. I'm out hanging out where in the guest house where my parents come and where they stay when they come, where my father-in-law, and I wanted more space, so I'm out there. And I do think it's going to be fun, and we'll make the best of it. This is serious business. This is how you build your teams. But I think we also are mindful of all the people out there that are really hurting, and hopefully we can take their mind off it, give them something else to focus on, and give them something to laugh about, and boo us if they want from home, and all those things that happens with the draft.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.